Good day, everyone. It's Meredith Leon-McCormack for World Bride Magazine with another edition and conversation with one of my favorite people, Yemi Osunkoya. Right? Did I get it right, Yemi?
You absolutely did. Yeah.
Yemi, 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 Yemi. Kosibah, the legend. So, Yemi, I wanted to bring you back to us, but on person to person because I love your work. Since Michelle Lowe introduced me to your brand when you were in England,
That's
I
correct.
fell in love with your craftsmanship, your work, the body of work that you created. And then we got a chance to work with you during some seasons and watching the process. And I trusted the process. You know, please give us some background about you. First, let's going to start with your full name and the name of the brand so that the people know who you are and how long have you been doing it?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much for asking me on. It's an absolute honor and pleasure. My name is Yemi Osunkoya, and I'm the designer behind the Kosibah brand. I established Kosibah in 1991, September, in England, London, where I lived, up until 2016 when I moved to the US.
Hmm.
And I specialize in bridal and evening wear, couture, bridal and evening wear. So I was trained in a school that taught Parisian couture, so very labor intensive, creating a garment for one person, specifically to the body shape of that person. So that's my background. And I moved to the States in 2016, and it's just a pleasure to still be here today.
And we're so glad to have you. So your work has been, you've met the royal family. Like they've honored you and a group of Africans that have contributed to the European, London, British community. And then you graced us with your work here in the US, and the Black Dress exhibition honored you there. So, two different parts of the pond, and all people from globally have worn your dresses, both for the bridal and for the evening wear.
Correct, yes. Yeah.
Wow. I know your family is proud of you. I mean, you're living your dream.
I have to say I'm very, very lucky with the family I have. So my background is Nigerian. Though I've spent most of my life in London, but I spent my early life in Nigeria. And the family background I came from normally you'd be geared towards law, medicine, engineering. But my parents, who were both in the medical field, my mom was a midwife, my dad was a doctor. They didn't have that. They just thought whatever you do, just do it to the best of your ability. So I had support right from the start, which is why
Hmm.
I was able to start at a very early age. I didn't have to maybe do medicine and then come back to law. So I
Right.
only say that, sorry, come back to design. So I only say that to say that yes, I have support and pride from my mother. Unfortunately, my dad has passed, but he knew I was going to be a designer before he died, and he told me he was proud of me.
Oh,
So I
that's
have that.
fantastic. So on an average year, about how long would it take you to create a dress for a client, whether it's a wedding dress or an evening wear? How long would it take you to actually put something together? What's the process? Take us through the process from the moment they say, I want you. And how do they find you and how do you determine that this is something that I want to move forward with?
Okay, so there are several parts to that question, and I'll answer it chronologically. So I would tell a client or I would ask for a specific lead time, and I'm doing this because of experience. So having done something for such a long time, I know from past experience that it is to my benefit and to my client's benefit to put in a lead time to create a gown because I want each client to think they are the only ones I'm dealing with. So I won't answer the question by telling you how long it's going to take me because
Hmm.
it doesn't work that way. I'm
Okay.
working with different clients at the same time, but I want each client to feel special, to feel seen. That's probably the most amount of money they're spending on a garment, and I want to give that time. And it also takes a lot of time to produce this garment. Sometimes you
Mhm.
have to create fabrication, etc. So for bridal wear, my sweet spot is 6 to 9 months. It's not that if I sat down to create, for example, a bridal gown for a sample, it's going to take that long. But I would tell my clients, and I also tell interns that I mentor, build in that time. Otherwise, you will regret it. You don't want to have the panic, you have the stress. No, it should be the experience should be wonderful for your bride. They should always remember that time with pleasure,
Right.
so, and in order to do that, you need to build in the time. So for bridal wear, I say 6 to 9 months. The longer, the better. But when it now veers on to like maybe 18 months, that's where it might become a problem because fitting issues might occur. People might change their mind. So you don't want it too long, but 6 to 9 months. Now, evening wear is slightly different because sometimes you an event might come up quicker than normal, but at the
Right.
same time, I still build a minimum of 8 weeks, 12 weeks perhaps. But I can't, I wouldn't want to encourage someone that wants to dress in 4 weeks because the process, as you did say, is I take your measurements. There are about 26 plus very precise body measurements I take.
Right.
And then I create a master pattern from which I make a pattern for a toile. A toile is a prototype. It's like a
Right.
mock version, and you do it in muslin. In England, we call it calico. And what that does is that it helps you to identify any fitting issues. Now, when, because everybody's body is different, and there are some times that you don't spot a fitting issue until a garment is worn.
Right.
I aim for perfection. If you have like little wrinkle hair or something that doesn't fit right, I prefer to fix it because that's the way I was trained. In bridal wear, I'd do a second one, even if I know it's completely perfect, but it's also a way to reassure your client that you've seen and you've listened and you've fixed it so that
Wow.
nothing comes as a surprise because up until that point, normally it's just a sketch that doesn't exist. And there's a lot of trust that goes into it. So doing
Right.
it well helps the client to visualize it. It comes to life. And then that's where you can say, okay, maybe the cleavage is too low or maybe the cleavage is too high.
Right.
And you see, that's all the reason why we have to build in the time. And then sometimes you have to get the fabrics. For example, sometimes I have embroidery created for the particular dress. I have to
Okay.
time for the embroidery to be made, etc. And then when the actual garment is made, which is also a separate pattern from the toile because there are more things that go into it.
Right.
Um, and then you all invariably end up with a garment that fits perfectly, but it takes a lot of time and effort.
And also, with the dress process, you're literally creating a muslin. Oh, you do the pattern, you do the muslin, but
Mhm.
then you usually the dresses have layers to it. So you have to make layers of the same thing. So it might be 2 or 3 layers depending on how much. So it's not just, hey, just cut it and then throw the fabric together.
No, it's a whole process. It's a
Yeah,
whole
so it's like almost you might have to do it 3 or 4 times
That's
just
true.
to get the fit, and then we go into the details of the dress. And then the other thing that I've learned to appreciate about you and the way you work your process is that you actually don't overstock in fabrication, and so that because the reality is the wedding industry is the most wasteful. We have a whole bunch of stuff. You do these designs, continuously every season, 2 times a year or whatever it is, in hopes that somebody's going to capture it, want it. And sometimes you just don't sell the sample. So now you have a whole bunch of stuff. And then the person wears a dress maybe once or twice, depending on the design. Twice meaning like they've cut it or they've redesigned it or restructured it. But technically, it can be wasteful. But doing it your way, it's not off the rack. It's something that's specifically designed for the person. So, but it's labor intensive for you and your team.
Yeah.
And while they might meet with you as the designer, you still have a team.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, you have somebody that's going to source, help you, put things into perspective, have it laid out for the client to come in, and then the time that it takes you to go out and find the fabric, order the fabric, shipping and handling, before you know it, it's already 3 or 4 months just to get the fabrics and the materials you need.
Yeah, it does take that there's a lot of time that goes into it all. Yeah.
And I appreciate that so much. So now this is my next question to you. I feel like we touched it, but I want people to hear it specifically. What's the difference between you, the designer, you, the seamstress, you, the beater, you, the pattern maker, and the tailor? Please tell us.
Okay. So, for example, some people um are not sure the difference between a seamstress and a designer.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say it this way. A seamstress sews. They can be very skilled at putting something together and sewing it. But a designer can sew, but seamstresses may not be able to design.
Yes.
Okay? So a designer would be able to meet with a client, speak with them, and from their body shape, what the event is, what time of year, religious elements, social elements that come into
Mm-hmm.
it. Maybe even I have a scar I need to cover. All those
Right.
things come into play, and then they design something specifically for that client
Mm-hmm.
that ticks all the boxes. And
Right.
they're able to visualize how fabrics would work. Is it going to be a structured design? So you want something like Zibeline or Mikado, that's very architectural, or is it soft and floaty? Then you're thinking of tulle, you're thinking of chiffon, all those things. And then the most important thing is that they're able to create a pattern for the design they've made
Right.
and know how, everything goes together and then able to know what fabric goes best, cut everything out, and then normally they would give it to a seamstress or the person that sews in their team. Now, for example, with me, I can do everything. I can design, I can make a pattern, I can sew, but the
And
reality
do the
is that
hand beading work
I
too.
can do everything, but it's not efficient to do so if you are able. That's why you price correctly so that
Yes.
you're able to then delegate and then you can supervise how things are done because you
Mm-hmm.
know how to do it yourself.
Right.
Um, so that's the difference between a designer and a seamstress. Most seamstresses probably wouldn't be able to draft a pattern, you know, they might be able to even most of them might not even be able to cut. I would normally give my seamstresses all the sample room, things that have already been cut. Sometimes there are things that have already been pre-done, so all they have to do is just stitch it together.
Right.
So you can't really compare a designer to a seamstress with those.
Yeah. And a tailor and a person that can just mend or fix, do last minute touches of things like that.
But I have
There's
to say, those people are skilled in what they do. They would
absolutely.
not take, in fact, somebody that does alterations, I sort of bow down to them because it's a skill in itself because you're
Yep.
taking something apart, you don't know how it will go
Absolutely.
together, and then you have to adjust and put it together. I couldn't do that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not taking away from that. It's just that
Absolutely
they're
not.
different, they play different parts.
And that's what I want our readers and our viewers to understand that um The prices match the amount of people involved and the technical aspects involved in creating one garment. So, can you imagine if you have to mass produce it? Now you need a factory of people to do it, and there's cost to that. So, nothing is cheap, without impacting a community, the artisans that work behind it, even if you're doing it on a machine, you know what I'm saying? There's still humans behind it. So that's one thing AI can't do. AI will not be able to make a wedding dress for anyone.
So can I ask you,
Uh-huh.
what's your opinion on AI? Do you embrace
I
it?
love it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that because
No,
I
I
embrace it.
love it.
Yeah.
I think for someone like us that have small businesses and small team, like I have a team of under 20 people. So for
Mhm.
me, if I try to do what I do without it, now that I know it's available to me, I couldn't produce as quickly and as efficiently and I wouldn't sleep anymore. I've been
Exactly.
able to sleep now because I'm able to delegate it to the people and then turn around and say, okay, guys, everything is put together. Let's run it through AI and let it check
Yeah.
our work and make sure we didn't. But AI is not a replacement
No, it
of
just
humans
enhances
at
what you do. That
all.
human touches will always be there. It just helps you
Absolutely.
to work more efficiently and in ways that you probably couldn't before, but you still need to be there.
Absolutely. There's no way that, like, even if I had another publisher come and work with me and partner with me, we still need to be able to check each other's work. There has to be a check and balance in everything that we do. AI only knows what humans have put into it. So I'm fine with AI, but I don't believe in people that tell AI, hey, write me an article about Yemi Kosibah. It's gonna make up things.
Exactly. It hallucinates. And if you see that's the thing, if you don't know, that's why AI can never really take over because you need to have the expertise to correct it, to bring it back. Are you
Exactly.
telling you're hallucinating now? This is how it should be. Yeah. I mean, remember when we talked about when I said that oftentimes the biggest problem for a client that wants to commission a couture gown is trying to imagine how this idea is
Exactly.
going to be. So how I've solved that problem, thanks to AI, is that if I design it, I can actually take a picture of my client
Yep.
and I can get AI to translate my design on my client. I can actually
With
get
their picture.
yes, because then it's them in the outfit.
Yep.
And then I can animate it so they can see how it will walk, how it will
Absolutely.
flow and everything. And
Absolutely.
that just helps them to, oh my God, that's what it's like. Then I feel better. But it's my design. That's what I tell people. It has to be your work. AI is
Absolutely.
just not that, like you said, oh, design a bridal gown with fishtail. No, I will scan my design and then get AI to interpret
Absolutely.
what I have designed.
I agree with you 100%. And then also for me, AI is a helper, not a creator.
Oh, yes,
And we have to remember that
that's right.
it doing something to help give you more time with your client. Because I'll ask it, can you provide me with the list of the top bridal salons in New York City?
Yes,
It's going to scan what's in the internet. It doesn't know if it doesn't exist, it's not going to find it.
that's
So
right.
that's where I feel like people don't understand how it works. And what I don't want people to be delusional about too is that doesn't mean the prices drop.
Oh my God, no.
That's not what that means.
No, no.
It literally, I still have to have time and my energy and my skill set is
Mhm.
what you're paying for. And I think that's where people get it wrong. So the best example that I heard was when if you have a leak, and that you can't find it where it is. but you spent hours, days trying to figure it out. But the plumber comes in and in 10 minutes he does it and he charges you $350. You're like, wait, $350 for 15 minutes? You're not paying him for his time.
Yeah,
You're
paying for
paying
his
him for
knowledge.
his
So yeah,
knowledge.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So that's what I try to tell people that AI is only helping me to accurately do something. It is not replacing me.
oh, that's
So
right.
that to me is what's really, really important. So what are the trends that you've seen in the market and the evolution of bridal? And how do you feel about it? Trends, the whole thing.
Yes. So, like Instagram, Pinterest has opened up lots of possibilities to brides. So I'm going to speak of brides specifically, and therefore most of them might probably come with a fixed idea or you know something they've seen somewhere and
Right,
maybe want replicated, which I wouldn't do. And I also tell them that again, the same way you saw this in Pinterest and Instagram, lots of other people have seen it as well, and they now know this, this is from Vera Wang or whatever. So you're not fooling anybody.
right.
And I'm not going to put my reputation on the line to create a dress that anybody will know it's a Vera Wang dress. Instead, I will take, okay, this is your vision. For example, it's an A-line dress. With my skill and my
I
ethos
love
of
it.
figure enhancement, I will design something that would suit my client better than whatever they brought from me.
Compliment them,
Exactly.
enhance who they are, their body,
Yeah.
their sense of style, and your
Yes,
reputation as an artist.
that's correct.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
I I would use that as a almost like a mood board or just an idea, but I will design something for them that will suit them much better than whatever it is they brought to me.
I love that. And that's what we do when we create our issues. We're inspired by our favorite photographers and our favorite artists and magazines and we're like, "Oh my God, this looks amazing. We would love to do." But we're translating it into something that's ours, that
That's
suits us, that makes sense for us and our readers and our vision, our aesthetic. So for me, I'm not a big trend follower. That's not me. I want to consider myself and my team as trendsetters.
that's
We create every issue as aspirational, inspirational. Yes, you may not be able to afford a Kosibah dress right now. Okay, but can we plan for it? How can we plan? And the other thing that I want people to stop, is assuming. They assume they can't afford your dress. I personally have the belief that you don't know what you can afford until you ask and you can plan for it. Everything is attainable if you're not in a rush.
that's true. That's
If you're
true.
not
That's
in a
true.
rush,
Yeah.
because, there's certain things like I wanted a baby grand piano since I was a kid. I just got it 5 years ago.
Fantastic.
Do you know what
Fantastic.
I'm saying?
Yes,
So
yes.
nothing should happen overnight, and everything comes with work and inspiration and aspirational and your timeline, not your friends, not Instagram, not Facebook, but
Yes.
your timeline within your budget and everything else. So we want our brides, especially in these challenging, hard economic times and uncertainties,
Mhm.
we're not telling people anymore, yes, you have to go spend $50,000 on a wedding dress. We're not telling you that. What we're telling you is, when do you want to get married? How much do you think you want to spend? Here are some of our favorite designers and artists. Put that in your plan, go try it out, and then we can literally decide, hey, is this going to work for me? And that's
That's
really how we try to talk to our brides.
that's true. I also realized that talking of trends, another one is that I think people are prepared to have smaller, more intimate ceremonies, which I think is good because that way they can have the wedding they want
Hmm.
but because the numbers are smaller, they can actually enhance, get bigger flowers, but it's on a smaller scale.
Right.
And, and then because
Get
you're
the dress
reducing
of their dream.
exactly, because then the budget, you have enough money for the dresser you like and the photographer that you'd like to hire. And I've also noticed that they have, especially if it's a destination wedding,
Yep.
and destination can be a different city in the same US, so it doesn't have to
Right.
be abroad. But they realize they are getting guests coming to them for a couple of days, so they have different ceremonies,
Yep.
the welcome party, the dress
Absolutely.
rehearsal, and then the after party, and even on the day of the wedding, sometimes they might change into something else. I've noticed that, a lot of brides are doing that, which for me, it's good.
Yes,
But
and our brides do that too. They do a lot of destination weddings. That's why our um travel section is so big because, but again, like you said, it's not only all outside of the US. We also have found beautiful places in Arizona, in Wisconsin of all places, Lake Geneva, and different beautiful destinations. Even upstate New York
yeah,
has wonderful outdoors places that they can explore. We just went to a location a few weeks ago, the Pendry Hotel in New Jersey. The hills and the mountains were gorgeous, you know. So for me, inspiration comes from what you see, and then sit down and do your budget, but do your research before you make a commitment because you don't want to find out after you made the plans that, oh man, I didn't know it was this. I could have, should
yeah,
have, and so that's one of the things that we encourage people. And then seasonal too. Sometimes of the year it's better to get married in certain places like January through March for hotels in New York tend to be a little bit slower. So things like the Tavern on the Green and the Waldorf Astoria, they tend to be willing to work with budgets. We're not talking about, it's still not going to be like, you know,
sure.
but
Or have it during the week. It doesn't have
exactly,
to be on a Saturday. The people
exactly.
that love you and support you will be happy to come to celebrate with you on a weekday, you know.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. And that's the beauty of creating your own trends, creating your own history, your own heritage for your special day. Yemi, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with me. Um, I can't wait to see what you have going on and some of your beautiful brides that you're dressing, and just people that you're dressing, because it's not just the brides, which I get excited about when I see your pages and your sketches are amazing.
Yes, and I've been doing a lot with AI as well,
I love it.
touched on.
No, I love it so much. I love seeing it, how you'll sketch it and then it comes to life. We
That,
love it.
that's right.
So
Yes.
please tell our readers and viewers where can they find you and how can they book an appointment for a consultation, a conversation with you.
So the best place I would say is Instagram or my website. So my website is kosibah.com. But on Instagram, because I can communicate with you and you can see my latest work in real time. And I'm Yemi Kosibah in Instagram. And I've also got another account called the Kosibah Method, which you can
Wonderful.
find through my Yemi Kosibah Instagram. And you can see my body of work. You can communicate with me, and we can, talk about booking appointments and everything. And I'm based in Harlem, in a beautiful brownstone. And again, I'm
Yes, you are.
trying to create an environment that when a bride comes in, they think, oh yes, okay, I'm in the right place. And it's all part of the experience I'm trying to, or not trying, I give my clients.
No, you've executed it. I've seen it. Thank you again, Yemi. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And guys, there you have it. That was Yemi Kosibah. I am going to make sure you guys get full information about the brand. Please continue to look, do your research, contact these amazingly talented artists. They are artists. And until the next time, ciao, Bella.